Good morning. Welcome to Up to the Minute. We're live from the HCCTV studios. I'm Todd Duplantis. Good to have you with us this morning. We are rocking and rolling on a Tuesday. It is, we've got some special guests joining us. We're celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, and it's Tasty Tuesday. A couple of guests joining me in just a few moments. But first, we want to remind everyone, first, we want to thank you for watching us on Facebook Live. We are here just about every Friday, or I should say every weekday, live at 10 a.m. on Facebook. And then the show is posted on YouTube, but you can also find us across social media. That's right. We are across social media as Houston Community College District. Don't just look for HCC. There's a lot of HCC nicknames in social media. Houston Community College District. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and you'll get notifications when we post shows like this. And you can watch our show on HCCTV. We are rebroadcast on HCCTV at noon, 5, and 10 p.m. daily, weekdays that is. All right, let's get on with the show. We've got some special guests joining me. By the way, I was supposed to have a co-host this morning. He didn't show up, so it's just me. I'm sorry, folks. You'll have to deal with me. Dr. Natalie Garza, she is one of my co-hosts who always joins me on the show. She's always here when she's scheduled. Natalie, it's good to see you.
Good morning. It's good to see you.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about the Ewen Family Endowment you just received, what you're using it for, and we've discussed this before, but we're going to go a little bit more in depth with it. So we'll talk to you in about 10 minutes. Stick around.
Thank you.
All right, it is Tasty Tuesday. We're going to kick things off. We've got Ana Beaven. She is the co-founder and co-owner of Cuchara Restaurant. She's our Tasty Tuesday guest. Ana, welcome to the show, and thank you for joining us this morning.
There we go. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it was good seeing you this weekend. I know you did something a little special. Before we get into Cuchara, I know you guys are expanding with your restaurant. You got a lot of cool things going on, and you were in a new space, which is near Cuchara. It's called Cucharita. Maybe you can tell us a bit about that and what you guys were doing this weekend.
Well, Cucharita was conceived because we needed extra space for kitchen because we are expanding our catering business a lot, and our kitchen at Cuchara is really, really small. So it all started as an idea to get a kitchen where we can prepare for caterings. And then so it happened that we could open a little dining room as well. So my business partner's idea of having a breakfast place has always been like playing in his mind. And that's the purpose of Cucharita. We're going to serve breakfast, breads, and cocktails.
Breakfast.
Just in the morning.
You can't go wrong with all of that there. That sounds great.
Exactly.
Let's talk about Cuchara. You guys are celebrating, it's hard to believe, your 15th anniversary. Is that correct?
No, our 10th anniversary.
10th anniversary. Okay. Yeah. So your 10th anniversary, you're celebrating it now. Tell us a bit about, because this was an old grocery store when you guys took it over?
Yeah, it used to be the Hyde Park supermarket. So we took half the building at the beginning 10 years ago, and now we took over the whole building. So we've grown our restaurant exactly double, plus Cucharita. So lots to celebrate for our 10th anniversary.
Incredible. And it's Hispanic Heritage Month. How are you celebrating that this month? I mean, obviously, it's very special to you.
Well, we usually, for the month of September, we prepare a dish called chile en nogada, which is fantastic. And we only eat it traditionally in September because the colors of the dish represent the Mexican flag. So besides that, we always celebrate September 15, which is our anniversary, and it's Mexican independence. So in September, we always have festivities. We do the National Day of Corn, which is the 29th of September. We always throw something regarding Mexican corn because we bring our own corn from Mexico for every single dish that we offer. Wow. There's always something to celebrate in September. We push for movies and exhibits, and all sorts of guests pop by the restaurant. So it's a festivity after festivity.
Let's talk about authenticity, the importance of real tradition in your menu, and everything about Cuchara, and I imagine when Cucharita opens, is very authentic to Mexico City. It's very different in a lot of ways from what many Houstonians are familiar with Tex-Mex. Maybe you can talk about the authenticity and what is traditional Mexican cuisine.
Well, compared to Tex-Mex, it's a totally different world. We use different spices. We don't add so much garlic or cumin or anything that is traditional of Tex-Mex. We don't do sour cream or yellow cheese. And our food, traditionally in Mexico, all over Mexico, north to south, is fresh every day. We try not to ever have anything frozen. Nothing is ever preserved. So it was really hard to conceive that in a kitchen in Houston, but we did it. Everything is prepared fresh every single day. We don't have a walk-in cooler. Now we will have one for the new place, but basically just to store beers and things. But we still cook fresh every single day. We shop in the market. It comes to the restaurant. We process it. We prepare it, and we serve it. That is probably the highest point I always tell people about Cuchara is that everything is fresh every single day. You will never get, oh, yesterday's fish, yesterday's salsa. Never.
And you also, when you're doing something like that, do the dishes change? Like if it's something that's in season right now, well, hey, let's use this type of corn because it's in season, or this type of spice. Is that common with Cuchara, where you may change your menu on a daily basis or offering new items?
We usually have a Friday special, and it's cooked based on what we find that week in the market. We change the margarita of the day every single day based on the fresh fruits that we find in the market. We change the ceviche of the day based on whatever amazing seafood we can get, or fruits, because we do a lot of shrimp with fruit. We change several things every day. We add specials on the weekends, on Fridays, like I mentioned. And at Cucharita, we're going to do the same. We're going to have chilaquiles of the week. We're going to have eggs of the week, so that people can try many different versions of. We have so many recipes that it would be like a gigantic menu if we tried to impose them all at the same time.
It sounds I'm looking forward to getting to Cucharita when you open that up. And that's coming the beginning of October, right?
We are hoping for the beginning of October. We still need 1 or 2 more inspections, and the city has not been really on time, let's say. Yeah. But as soon as we pass inspections, we will open really quickly.
How do you celebrate holidays in general at Cuchara?
So we work with the Mexican calendar of holidays. To talk about a little bit, the next holiday that we have is Day of the Dead, which is November 2nd. So we always invite a traditional cook from a different state in Mexico. This year, indigenous culture in Mexico, it's an organism that helps us bring the cooks. They have not decided if we're going to invite someone from Oaxaca or from Michoacan, but we always invite a traditional cook. This is usually a female that knows everything that is endemic to the region where they grow up, where they live. Right. And they prepare the traditional foods that come from hundreds of years ago. It's never a recipe that's been altered. It's just traditional. So for us, it's really challenging to find ingredients, but we usually are able to. And even if I have to go to Mexico, source it myself and ship it somehow. So as soon as we know what cook is coming, we'll advertise it. And it's a fantastic dinner. We do like a candlelight dinner. Yeah. And now we're going to do it at Cucharita, which is more intimate. And people can talk to the cook. I can translate. Some of these cooks don't even speak very good Spanish. So in case they don't, we bring a translator so that we can understand exactly what they say. But it's an incredible event, and incredible food, and it shows people a little bit of the original tradition of Day of the Dead.
And you also have an all-female kitchen?
We do.
And obviously, because you mentioned you're going to bring a female over from Mexico, tell us about that.
Well, in Mexico, traditional cooks are usually females. Very different than someone that goes to school to train as a chef. Traditional cooks are usually, they never leave their home state. When they do, they just do to show their food. They really don't care to learn about any new techniques. To give you an example, one of the cooks we invited, I think it was 3 years ago, Benedicta Alejo, she was invited to the Vatican, and she took her mortars, and they wouldn't let her bring them into the Vatican, I guess for safety reasons. And she learned how to use a blender 3 years ago. Like, the woman did not know how to use a blender. They always do mortars. They're very traditional. So when I started conceiving the kitchen of Cuchara, I really wanted that food. When I go to Mexico, I crave that food, the food from the markets, from my grandma, from my aunt. I really never go craving the chef's bubbles or something. So that's exactly what I wanted to do. And We have a female kitchen. 2 of my cooks are in line to get certified as traditional cooks. Even though they're in the US, the program allows them to sign up. And once you get that certification, it really tells how much passion you have for food.
Incredible. Anna Beaven, she is the co-founder and co-owner of Cuchara Restaurant. They're located in the Montrose area. Your address real quickly, and we're going to put your social media information in our post, but where can they find you?
Sure, thank you. It's 214 Fairview, that is Cuchara, and 315 Fairview is Cucharita. 1 block away, you can valet park in either one and walk to the other one.
Anna, we're looking forward to seeing you again soon. I'm definitely going to be out of Cucharita, and I'm going to have somebody get a hold of you about the Day of the Dead thing. Get the information to her, and we're going to make sure we're there as well.
Of course, perfect. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here on the show. Continue best in your continued success.
Thank you so much.
All right, so guess what, folks? My co-host actually decided to join me this morning. Benji is here, and Benji, were we running a little late this morning? Anything you need to tell us?
No, just a little technology problems this morning.
Okay, technology problems. Okay, well, you do have a phone.
I was gonna get on my phone, but it looks, it has the different aspect ratio. I wanted to look.
Right. Yeah. Usually when people are running late, they try calling their boss or maybe texting the producer of the show. But I just want to throw that out there for future consideration. So
now that I know, I'll do that next time.
Yeah. Well, it's good to have you with us, Benji, always. We've got a special guest for you, so I'm going to turn things over to you as you speak with Dr. Natalie Garza. Benji?
Yeah. So today we have Dr. Natalie Garza, the HCC history professor and inaugural Ewen Family Endowed Chair Award. To be more specific about your prestigious honor, you and one other faculty member received this award for teaching and learning excellence, and it included a nice grant. But before we get into specifics of your plan, tell us why it was important to focus your project on the second award, and tell us, our audience, exactly where to find the second award.
Hi. So I wanted to focus on the second award because I had done a public history project that's situated there. The City of Houston Parks Department was working with the community to put panels of the history of Second Ward in Guadalupe Plaza Park, which is located like at the end of navigation where kind of meets with Jensen Street. And they needed a historian to do the research and the writing for those panels. And so I got hired to do that. And so I'd done a ton of research of the neighborhood, and I had so much more information than what was, what we were able to put on the panels. And I wanted to do something with that. And I also wanted to really honor the stories of people from the neighborhood who might not have been recognized on the panels. There's so many great stories. The history is so rich in Second Ward, and so that was really why I wanted to focus on that neighborhood. Second Ward is located east of downtown, and it's one of the oldest neighborhoods in Houston.
Well, it's nice to see some exposure for like they call it Segundo Barrio. So what is the goal with your project now that you have the Ewen grant money?
So I want to create a digital map that people can kind of move around the neighborhood as it looks today, and then click on different areas on the map and be able to hear stories that are related to that area, whether it can be oral histories of, I've interviewed a lot of people. There are also a lot of other oral histories that exist at the Houston Public Library and at U of H that we can use clips from those oral histories. People can listen to those clips or maybe look at pictures. I love, I'm a historian, but I love old photos. And I always, like to imagine like, oh, where is that located? This grocery store, I can see this picture, but where was it? To today, where would it have been? And so those kinds of things.
So you were talking about will anybody be able to learn the ArcGIS software?
Right. So there's different platforms. When I was applying for the Ewen grant, I talked to Ruben Duran in the Learning Innovation at HCC, and was getting some advice from him about, what my idea was and what kind of platforms I could use. And this is one of the platforms he suggested that I look into. It's ArcGIS. And it allows for kind of layering of information. So it allows for the map to exist, and then to be able to embed information kind of within that map. And so I that's part of what I'm using the money for, is to learn how to use the software to be able to develop the map.
Awesome. So I know you're a history professor as well. What will your students' role be in the project? Do they have anything to do with the project?
Yes, I'd love ultimately for students to be able to contribute to the map. A big goal of HCC is to do, engaging learning, student-centered learning. And I think that this is one way where students can do very traditional research that you would do in a history class, but apply it in a way that they can see the results, right? They can see where it's not writing a paper. They can see the results of their research. They still will be, looking at primary sources. They'll still be reading about, the history of the time period, and they'll still be writing, but then they'll be able to see the results of what they put into the research in this project. And I think it's also a good way of showing that, the work that they do and work that you can do in history matters beyond academia, because I think that these stories are really important to the community of Second Ward. And I think that, also just important to the broader Houston community in, like you said earlier, having some exposure of the neighborhood.
All right, well, let's talk about you. And how do you feel about HCC's focus in diversity and equity to have chosen you for this?
I think, that demonstrates the desire to have that emphasis because of, the project that I want to do. That Second Ward is traditionally an immigrant neighborhood. When it was first established, very rooted in German immigration. We see a transition to Mexican immigration. It has become a working class neighborhood. And so when we look at the focus on the desire to focus on this neighborhood and allow me to use the grant to do that, I think that it just shows HCC's dedication to diversity and equity. A lot of people in the neighborhood, the reason the park panels even were introduced is because people in the neighborhood were beginning to feel the oncoming of gentrification, feel like city planners were ignoring them and demanded that their history be recognized as all of these changes were happening. And so people within City Hall and the Parks Department decided that this was one way that they could honor that history. So people are still feeling that kind of anxiety of the changing neighborhood. And I feel like this is one way that we can preserve the history and honor the people that live there and have lived there in the past.
Of course. And also, can you tell us about more about the historic panel installations? So what they're gonna maybe talk about, or
those already exist. They were installed, I want to say December 2020, if I'm not mistaken.
Awesome.
So they exist at Guadalupe Plaza Park. And they tell the history of the Second Ward, very much focused on Mexican American history of the Second Ward. A lot of the topics that were emphasized were guided by the community. Activists within the community said they wanted certain people recognized in this history. And so my research was guided by that, and the people who were focused on were guided by what the members of the community wanted.
So I do have a question, and you might be able to answer this being a history professor yourself, but what really settled like Mexican immigrants to settle in that neighborhood? Was there like a pool? Did somebody start there first and then it kind of grew? Because you were talking about how it was German immigrants before, but now it like transitioned onto Mexican Americans and stuff like that.
It was really jobs, access to the railroads, people working the railroads. There were Mexican immigrants who were coming to work on the railroads, work in the shipyards, even, construction of things related to the railroad. So that it was really that was the first draw for Mexican immigration to this area of Houston. And there were some prominent people who became prominent business leaders that were actually recruiting Mexicans. The Sarabia family started to go to San Antonio to recruit people who were coming in from Mexico to move to Houston to work in this area.
Oh, wow. I did not know that. Well, thank you so much for everything. It looks like we're running out of time. So thank you so much, Dr. Natalie Garza, the HCC History Professor and inaugural Ewen Family Endowed Chair Award. And we will have all of your info on our post after the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Natalie. And Benji, okay, a few announcements to go through before we wrap things up on the show for today, but the Chancellor's Award for DEI Excellence. Who do you think reflects the HCC's DEI values to receive the Chancellor's Excellence Award for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion? The award will be given to faculty, staff, and administrators who foster a culture of inclusion that enhances the communities we serve by embracing the inherent worth of every individual, promoting social justice, and advancing academic excellence. The award winner receives recognition at convocation, a dinner with the Chancellor and our DEI officer, and a $5,000 cash award per individual or $500 per team member if it is a team nomination. HCC employees can nominate individuals or teams who meet the award criteria found on the website in our post after the show. The deadline to nominate is Tuesday, November the 1st. We'll have some more information in our social media post after the show. Okay, Benji, there is another thing that's happening, very important, suicide gatekeeper training.
Yes, HCC's Counseling and Ability Services will conduct an online training program for students, faculty, and staff on QPR of suicide prevention, which stands for question, persuade, and refer. The 3 steps anyone can learn to help prevent suicide. The signs of crisis are all around us, and just like CPR, QPR is an emergency response to someone in crisis. This will take place on Tuesday, which is today, from 11 a.m. to noon, and we will have that info on the post after the show.
Okay, piano masterclass, Dr. Diego Caetano, world-renowned pianist, is a professor at Sam Houston State University. He'll be here leading a masterclass for our HCC piano students from 2 to 4 p.m. Friday, September 30th. That's coming up quickly. Stafford Fine Arts Center is where it's located. The class is free and registration is not necessary. If you need more information, we'll provide an email address in our post after the show. And there's also a faculty exhibition going on as well, Benji.
Yes, it's called Self-Fragmentation, the works of adjunct faculty Angel Castellan is being featured in the faculty art exhibition of HCC Northwest. Consisting of works on paper and paintings, it captures fragments of the artist's own identity through self-portraiture and imagery taken from my everyday life. So this is going on through November 4th at the HCC Northwest campus at the Spring Branch Gallery.
Yes. Okay. Even shorter fall. I'm going to jump on down to the fall classes because I want to talk about this, about registration. You can still register for the fall. Fall semester started, but you can still get classes completed in enough time, get those credit hours in before we start spring. There's shorter sessions. Second start's underway, fall semester's underway, but you can still jam pack some hours in. You can register an intensive sessions, shorter, but the same amount of hours. We have 5 ways to learn, 5 course options, online anytime, online on a schedule, hybrid, in-person, and hybrid lab. All those are available. Go to hccs.edu/apply. Okay, it's time for our monthly visit with HCC's Police Chief Michael Benford. That's going to happen tomorrow, Benji.
Yes, and later this week, we will have Thursday Family Fun Day. We will talk with the folks of Art Reach Houston, and then a local filmmaker for Film Friday.
Film Friday coming up on Friday. Yeah, I won't be here Friday. Somebody else will be hosting. Benji, I know you're running late this morning. I just want to warn you, though. Wednesdays, Sade runs the show. She's probably not going to let you in the Zoom room if you're running late.
Probably not, but
Probably wouldn't let you in. She runs a tight ship.
She does, yeah.
Yeah. So keep that in mind next time. All right. Okay, folks. Thanks for joining us here, and thanks, Benji, for making the show today.
Yeah.
All right.
Got to always be here, maybe a little late, but I'm always here.
He's here. He made it here for his segment. All right. Thanks for being here, folks. We're live again tomorrow morning. Sade will be hosting the show. Join her tomorrow live, 10 a.m. for Up to the Minute.
Sometimes what you need just shows up. Houston Community College has your back, whether you're knocking out some basics or upping your game for a better job. Enroll today for spring classes and frame your future with HCC.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back. Dad! You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Being prepared is a part of who you are, but it's especially important in the case of a disaster. Be informed about possible emergencies in your area. Make a plan that covers where you go in an emergency. Build a kit with the things you need to survive. There's no one more capable of planning for your situation than you. Start your plan today. Go to ready.gov/myplan.
Kids will be kids, which just goes to say kids will be curious. They get into everything. If there's a loaded firearm in the house, they could get their hands on that too. Keeping firearms locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition in a place inaccessible to kids can help keep your loved ones safe from family fire. Safe gun storage saves lives.
$150/90.
180/111.
160/110. I had a stroke.
Your blood pressure numbers could change your life. Lowering them could save you from having a stroke. If you've stopped your treatment plan, restart it or talk to your doctor about creating one that works better for you. Start taking the right steps at manageyourbp.org.
Now I'm, trying to get better, stronger than ever.